What is up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. This is Uncut with Q, and I'm super excited, man. Today, guys, and what we talk about most of the time, just for everybody who's tuning in, if this is your first time listening, we talk about business, we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about personal development, we talk about health, we talk about all the things in life that will make you become a better person. So if you're listening, this is your first time listening, we do not run ads on this show. If you are listening to this podcast, we have a fee. And the fee is an exchange in value, the way that things should be. Meaning that if you get value from this, if you get perspective, if it makes you think, if it helps you question your current reality, share the fucking show. Okay, guys? So with that being said, man, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into this. I have a phenomenal guest with me. This guy is so, he's like the godfather of real estate. I'm not even going to lie.
No, not real
He's
estate.
done so many amazing things in the industry, bro. Introduce yourself to the world, my friend.
Well, you know me, Charles. Most of my friends call me Uncle Charles, but a lot of people would dispute Godfather of real estate. I'd say maybe I'll take the title of just credit financing guy. You know, so,
I love it, man. I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Man, I've had the honor of knowing this guy and basically growing up. You've seen me grow up in this business, and it's just been amazing, bro. I've seen you literally going from attending to RIAs to throwing huge conventions with hundreds of thousands of people in the audience, speaking on stages, doing amazing things in the community of real estate and entrepreneur space, man. Dude, so like, tell these guys a little bit about you. Like, where are you from? What have you been doing? Like, what do you got going on right now? Just, you know, whoever is listening to this may not even know anything about you.
Cliff Notes, man, and I know you'll relate to this. You know, I'm from the street, you know. And I don't mean I grew up on the street like a hobo. I mean, you know, I know that you understand the street.
The calle.
The calle, man. That's where I come from. I call it Violentville, USA. That's where I grew up. You know, I mean, I grew up in a world of violence. I'm a product of that environment. But somewhere along the line, you know, I had some scrapes with the same type of situations you did. You know that. You know a little bit about my story. And I had to make a decision. And somehow I ended up graduating from the University of Texas here in San Antonio.
Wow.
With a finance degree. Yeah, I did that. And it was hard because, you know, that other side keeps pulling you back.
Oh, yeah.
When things get hard, it pulls you back. and then somewhere along the line, I got involved with mortgages, and I ran a very successful mortgage business, broker shops, and actually mortgage banker shops. And then in 2008, boom, everything crashed. I lost everything and gained a little bit of weight.
It happens, part of the space.
Yeah, and then in 2012, that's a very fast forward to 2012. I launched our company, which is HPHS today. So. And then throughout that, we've just been building it all these years. You watched a lot of that.
Yeah.
And we just do a lot of real estate investing, traditional real estate, all different type of real estate. So
I love it, bro. I love it. You have personally mentored me in this space. Like, really have. Every time I've ever needed advice, I've been able to go to you. I've been able to learn so much. You've taught me how to take down my first creative finance deal, which we ended up doing like 5 different exit strategies on. Yeah. Which I'll probably do a different episode to kind of talk about what I did. But Charles really held my hand through that entire process, man. And it's just been awesome, bro, being a part of y'all's journey and being a part of what you guys got going on. Dude, y'all have an event that's coming up too, right?
Yeah, we do. We for a long time, you know, we actually started an association here in San Antonio. And someone here in town told me I couldn't do it. You know, and we both know that person.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. He is not to be
I don't
named.
know about that. But,
it's okay.
but we launched it, and we run the largest association today in San Antonio. But in doing that, what we wanted to do was build up the experience, because I believe you have to have experience in everything that you do, especially when it comes to, you know, whatever it is you're doing, crypto, NFTs. In your case, you know, you do the
VAs, virtual assistants, yeah.
Amazon stores. All the beautiful things that you're doing, you have to have experience and you have to lay the groundwork down. So yeah, we are launching the largest first time ever, never done before, wholesaling live event. And I don't mean it's going to be live just like on social media. I mean that everybody coming is now part of the event. They are the focus. They are the people who are going to get on the phones. we're going to bring in individuals such as yourself to talk about certain things that have to do with wholesaling. And it's not going to be like a speaking event, which most people are used to going, where they sit back and they hear somebody talk for an hour, or so, and then another speaker, and then another speaker. No, that's not this type of event. Mm-hmm. There's going to be professionals like yourself. So go on stage and tell individuals, this is why you use this system. And now we're going to use it. And we're going to put people to work. And they're going to wholesale live. And we're going to get contracts. And we're going to disposition contracts live. And everybody's going to have the opportunity to make money. That's what wholesaling live is, man.
That's insane, bro.
Yeah, it is. And I want to talk about that a little bit more. But first, I want to allude to something. And I just want to share this with you, with everybody listening. You know, I appreciate you saying, you know, that I've mentored you, you know, in some credit financing or whatever it is that we've done. But, you know, it's gone both ways, you know. You and I have talked a lot behind the scenes, even before we ever knew each other.
Yeah.
We exchanged messages. People don't know that. And I appreciate you too, man. I mean,
all day, bro.
It's a very unique friendship. People don't realize that when that goes on with us, you know, and people don't know that.
We're basically family, technically.
We are. Your wife is my cousin.
My son is related. You know
exactly.
what I mean? That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. So it's weird. It's like the universe sometimes it just puts things together, you know. And we were talking way before we even knew that. So.
Mm-hmm. I remember the first time that I ever walked into y'all's office, I was just absolutely blown away by the culture that you've been able to create within that space. I love it so much because, granted, dude, you've had every color race in your office, right? But I love how strong the Latino community is in y'all's office, and y'all like very prideful about that. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, the thing is, I've never shied away from helping anybody. You know, I have a strong belief that I owe life, and one day I'll share that with everybody because I come from a very bad background, you know. And I believe that I share I owe life, so I don't hold information from anyone. You know, if somebody wants to make a change, I want to help them. You know, if somebody's going through something, I want to tell them, hey, man, first of all, I'm not the guy who's going to tell you, hey, are you okay? I'm like, hey, dude, get the F up, dude. What are you doing? Because you're going to drown. You know, that's me. And I'm not, as long as someone's willing to put in the work, I'm willing to show them, you know. And so, you know, in the office, we've had a lot of people come and go. It's just part of the business, you know. Some leave the wrong way, and that's regretful. And some leave the right way, and I appreciate them, and I love them forever, and I'll always help them. But the objective for people in our office has always been to make them understand or help them understand that we're here on one journey together. Where you step off, I don't know. But while we're together, we're going to work with each other, not for each other. We're going to try to get somewhere.
That's the motto, right? How is that? How do you say that again?
Work with us, not for us.
I love that, man. Yeah. I've adopted that same thing. Again, another thing that I've learned into my business. You know?
That, man. Yeah.
Dude, it's the shit, bro, because it literally fucking like, it's like all growth when you come in here, you know? Yeah. I was looking at this lady online, and she was posting about, what was it? Basically that like employees should know their place. You know what I mean? And you guys don't adopt that really at all. I mean, everybody understands their roles and responsibilities, but it's so growth driven. You have levels to where people can graduate in your company.
Yeah, and sometimes people, they end up going on their own. I've lost some really, really talented individuals, but it was their time to fly.
Of course.
And does it hurt? Of course it hurts. It always hurts when you invest a lot of time to someone and then they make a decision. But it's their decision. You have to respect it, you know. And in my office, the one thing I always tell new guys that come in, because when we bring them in, I always tell them, look, I want you not to spend 1 hour, 1 day, 2 days, or 2 weeks trying to figure out who's who you're going to say hi to, how to act. You be you right now. Be you right now, man, because the last thing I want you to do is waste 2 weeks on that bullshit. Be you right now. And guess what, man? You're gonna figure out whether this place is for you or not, because we conduct ourselves one way and one way only here, and everybody's here to help each other. Everybody's here to do the same things to get to another place. So, I mean, you know, mentoring people, man, it can be difficult.
It can.
People go through a lot of stuff, but those like yourself, You know, I use an example. I mean, I've seen you mentor a lot of people, not just in real estate, but in life. You know, life skills. You shared your story. I mean, can I share a little bit about something? I want to talk about Q a little bit.
Oh man,
I do. You know, you and I have talked a lot, man, and I've seen you grow a lot, man. And I want to share with you. And I appreciate you having me on your podcast, but I want to share with you, man. Dude, you're a resilient dude. Because you know, I've seen people talk shit. You know.
Yeah.
I've seen people talk shit to you, man, and you always handle it with class. And I always ask me, you and I have talked about that behind the scenes. And I've always asked, like, man, how would I react to it? And I always tell you how I would react, you know, which is
the most gangster shit ever.
I'll show up in your house, motherfucker, you know, because I don't play that shit. But you know, you do it with class, man. And I just want to tell you, man, God, man, I admire that, man.
Of course, bro.
Very resilient, man.
I always feel it's not. Whenever somebody says something negative about you, they're really putting negative connotations on their own outcome.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, they're only saying those things about you because they feel insecure about themselves. And so by putting myself above the things that they say and living at the highest fucking frequency that I could ever possibly live at is where I find my peace, man. So even if I have been bashed online or someone has fucked me over or someone I trusted that I poured into that just, you know, stabbed me in the back, I understand now that that is really just God pushing them away from the people I really need in my life. Because I swear, man, I always like confided into the wrong people. And it wasn't until I started doubling down on the people that were actually there, the ones that weren't there for the come up, that there's just witnessed the come up, but we were there with or without me having that come up. That we're down to just ride.
And sometimes, man, you gotta lose people along the way, man.
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta lose people along the way. It hurts, but you know, and sometimes, man, those individuals that end up falling by the wayside, you know, it doesn't mean you can't go back and work with those individuals, depending on what they did, right?
Yeah.
It just means that I understand you. We understand each other, and so that allows you to now step up and go to another, you know, in a different direction. So, you know.
Dude, I love how you have this perspective on that, man. And just growing up where you grow up, bro. Like, are you born and raised here in San Antonio?
No, I mean, I did live here in the 70s. I think I'm a lot older than you. So I think in 77 we were for a while. I mean, I'm originally from New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up there. It was rough, man. It was rough there for Latinos. And I did some growing up in Houston and then Corpus. And so my mom moved us around a lot. But it was always, bless her heart, man. I mean, it was always the best she could do. But it was always still, like I said earlier, you know, I consider it a Violent USA because everywhere we went was the same.
Oh shit!
It was violence.
You just went to the worst parts of every area that you went.
It wasn't good, man. So you become a product of those environments, you know.
Now, like, I guess what made you settle in San Antonio?
I mean, I had lived here a few times, you know, and I liked the city, you know, and I came here, and I just wanted an opportunity. I didn't think I could find an opportunity anywhere else, and I wanted to go to the school UTSA, and I graduated from there. And so, you know, this is where I decided to lay you know. It's where I decided to lay my stake, you know what I'm saying? And here I am, man. I built this company. Sometimes I think to myself, man, I should have done it in Dallas or maybe in Phoenix. We'd probably be a lot further along because, you know, San Antonio's kind of sleepy, you know?
It is. But we're on the rise, man. We got 5 rings. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters, man.
Dude, I did not know that you lived in New Orleans, bro.
I actually was born there. My dad's family's from there, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I heard it's the best soul food that you'll ever have in your life.
You know, I mean, not really into soul food, to be honest with you, man.
It's all good.
It's all good, man. My wife hates it. I took her over there. She don't like it, so.
Dude, San Antonio is beautiful, bro. I mean, even though we might not be on the up and up, you know what I mean? We're on that way. We're on that way. Dude, so, like, when did the mortgage business even become a thing? Because you graduated finance, right? Yeah,
so what happened was I actually got involved in the credit space. So a friend of mine out of New York, he actually was a big time DJ at the time. He started a credit restoration company that started in Dallas, and they were doing this when the internet was barely starting to take off. They were doing very well, and they came down here, and they're like, "Hey, we want to open up an office here." And we opened up an office down at the Travis Building. I mean, we were doing really well. I mean, it was like awesome money, you know, at the time, $10,000-$15,000 a month.
Damn.
Yes, just commissions. And so the office here took off, and then they opened up one in Houston. And then before that, with the help of all of us, I mean, this thing spread out to the whole nation within a year. Almost every single major city had an office. And it was fabulous, man. The you know, I don't want to throw his business in the street as to why it fell apart, but let's just say it fell apart because the back end, he didn't take care of the back end, which is the family.
I got you.
And that shit fell apart. And so why back in the day, like, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have Facebook, you didn't have all that stuff. So the training was, here's how it works, right? You're in a room, they're teaching you how it works, and you're doing all these, you know, mocks and stuff and role playing. And then you get the phone book, and they tear out 10 sheets.
No shit.
There you go, man. Go knock on some doors. So in doing that, I got to meet a lot of people in the mortgage business. And you know me for a while, man. I'm always thinking and I'm always moving.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I think I can do this hustle here. So I caught on with the company. I said, let me run files for you. And so in mortgages, you got all different types of systems. You got back then you had Genesis, Encompass, Calyx. You had Loan Prospector, DO. I mean, it's just different stuff to run mortgages, and I got really good at them. So I said, let me come in at night. I'll run all your files because I got better than them. And within 6 months, I was running a broker shop.
Wow.
Yeah, I was running a broker shop, and then I was running 2 broker shops and a banker shop by 2005, and closing anywhere from 60 to 70 loans a month.
Damn.
Yeah.
I heard that back in those days, you could get a loan approved on stated income, meaning that if I walked into your establishment and I said that I made $300K every year, that you guys would accept that. And
okay,
then,
hold on with the you guys. So I ran broker shops. I couldn't get licensed. Because you know, I talked about that a little bit, but I was running the shops. You don't have to be licensed to run the shops, right? So I ran broker shop and a mortgage bank shop at the same time. And I knew more than all of them put together, you know, because I was basically telling them all what to do. But I mainly specialized in Gubby loans, like VAs, USDAs, and FHAs. You couldn't really there was not a lot of shenanigans going on with that. All the shenanigans was with the conventional loans, and I won't go into all that stuff. That's a long conversation. But when all that fell apart, that's when, you know, the market ended up crashing. Now, I knew in 2007 when I finally started doing a few conventionals, I did they called it a NINA, no income, no assets. So we sent up a loan up to a lender, and it had just a name. That's all they asked us for: a name, a social, an address, and you don't have to verify income or state income, nothing. And we're like, you guys are approving this? They got a 560 credit score. It's going to be 100% loan. They're like, yeah, he's good. I knew something was wrong at the time. I was like, and a year later, the shit blew up. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
This was here in San Antonio?
It was all over the country. Here in this building that you're in,
Yeah.
there was floors. The whole floor, I think the 4th floor and some other floors, was just like massive boiler rooms, dude. They were just people in cubicles. You walk in, and there was people in cubicles all across, dude. I'm talking about here in this building and
wow.
all over San Antonio. And it was just people just closing loans, man, closing loans.
That's crazy.
But it all came apart. It all came apart primarily because, all the inflated valuations, all the adjustable rate mortgage loans. What was happening, man, it was like a huge racket, man. Nobody wants to. You've seen movies about this and people are talking about it, but it really happened. Let me tell you something. The whole industry, man, was just effed up, man. Let me tell you something. You'd come in for a loan and they give you what they call a 228, a 2-year ARM and 28 adjustable. But they'd put you into that so you could qualify for the lower payment, and then they were going to refinance you in 2 years, so they get 2 cracks at the apple, right? Right?
Holy shit.
Or they do a 327. What people didn't realize was that the whole system wasn't going to sustain itself. And what happened was once the market started to restrict itself, a lot of those lenders went away, so they couldn't refinance. So a lot of people started defaulting on those loans. They started defaulting on those loans because they couldn't refinance them, and the payment and the interest rates went up on them. That's a big reason why this whole shit fell apart.
Do you see that happening right now?
I think that, of course, I mean, look, I don't think it's going to happen from the perspective of the mortgage industry collapsing again like it did. Because remember, the mortgage industry collapsed because of all the stuff they were doing. They were giving 100% loans at 560. I mean, dude, let me tell you something. On an FHA loan back then, okay, you could do sub 500 credit scores, use down payment assistance programs like Nehemiah, and get people everything paid, their down payment, all their closing costs. They'd walk in with like a 460 credit score into a brand new home. That shit was going on. That's not going to happen this time. What's going to happen this time, I think, my belief, just my experience, I'm not an economist, I just think we all know that there's inflation.
Yeah, of course.
We all know that supply is down across the whole nation on everything.
Gas prices are like $10 in Cali.
And what's going to end up happening is we're probably going to go into a very deep recession. I'm not an economist. This is being told to us by everybody.
Yeah.
And people are not going to be able to pay their bills. If you combine that with what happened in 2020 with the COVID, where people were getting all these forbearances, well, now the lenders are asking for you to pay all that shit back. So people can't pay it back. So we're now starting to see a lot of people get foreclosed. And so I think we're going to see, I think we're going to go into a heavy recession. People are going to lose their homes.
This is crazy conversation, bro. I just learned so much.
I'm not an economist, man, but I learned a lot. You know,
dude, I mean, at this point, dude, I'll trade the sleepy dude for the orange guy. You know what I mean? It is what it is, bro. Yeah. I am not into politics, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I do see that some fucked up shit is going down. Yeah. And I cannot say, I'm not blaming anybody or anything like that, but I do see that there's a lot of things that are product of bad decisions that are made either prior to Joe Biden being our president or even toward the end of Trump's presidency.
I mean, who knows, man? I mean, like, I don't like to get into political conversations with people because there's either too far on the left or too far on the right.
Of course.
But the fact of the matter is, excuse me. The fact of the matter is, at least when we're seeing, the economy's tanking. 2020 didn't help because you got people in a bunch of forbearances.
Yeah, saw that.
The banks are starting to call the notes. They're not refinancing. The modifications are not approved where they should be approved so they can modify these loans. So we're starting to see, and then all the states and all the counties are now starting to foreclose. Remember, they had a moratorium. So the moratoriums are over. Forbearances are over. You're going to see people start losing their homes. And we see that now. We see more and more foreclosures happening every single month.
What is your company doing to capitalize on this and help people?
Man, I got to be careful, man, when I tell Q stuff because he has, I don't know if you guys know this, but he has like a photographic memory. So you tell him something, man, he's like, I got it. So,
man, no, dude, I just want to know. You know what I'm saying?
Man, okay. You ain't taking this down, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's only recorded and uploaded to the entire world, you know?
Okay. So here's the thing, man. If I were you and I was in real estate, whether you're a real estate agent or a real estate investor, especially if you're a one-trick pony and just a wholesaler, you got to start learning how the loans work, which is conventional USDA, VA, and FHA. You have to learn how they work and how, what they're made up of and how people need to exit these and how they get them. It's very important to do that. That's the first thing. The second thing I would learn is what type of modification programs is the FHA offering the lenders so they can modify loans. Same thing with VA. Not so much with USDA, and same thing with conventional. Why do you want to know that? Because the more and more people start getting foreclosed, they're going to start getting foreclosed because forbearances are going to be called. And if somebody's behind, let's just say $25,000. Okay, let's talk numbers here. Let's just say you got a house of $300,000.
Okay.
And let's say somebody bought it 2 years ago, so they don't have very much equity. Now, because we were in a seller's market, everybody thought equity was, appreciation was going out the roof, but that's slowing down, man. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna stagnate for a minute. So now you don't have the equity. Everybody thinks they bought last year, now they want to sell for $100,000 more. That shit's going away. So the reason you should get yourself familiar with not only subject to, but modifications, I'm going to tell you why. So, and how the loans work is because these individuals, and we're starting to see this now, they're let's just say they're behind $25,000. Now the home is new. That's good because you don't have to worry too much about doing a rehab on a new home.
Okay.
but you're still 20, 25 down. Some people are 30 down. And so that means that you have to come with that investment, right? I got to pay now your reinstatement to reinstate the loan, right? Because you're behind, let's just say 20, 25, 30,000. That's money out of my pocket. And I got to get possession. And let's just say I got to go in there, maybe fix it a little bit. That's another 5,000. Maybe this young gentleman over here referred it to me. He wants 5,000. So you're behind 30. Now I'm into it 40. Maybe I got to make 2-3 payments on this thing. So that's not a deal. So anyway, the only way to do this is to modify the loan. So if I'm going to get into a subject to with you, and I get into an agreement to help you modify, so now I get to learn to modify the loan to push all that to the back, right, to the back of the loan. So maybe extend the term of the loan to like a 40-year, and at the same time maybe drop the rate. So if you drop the rate, extend the term, put the reinstatement to the back of the loan, now basically you're starting over. And I don't care about equity. What I care about is future appreciation and current passive income. So if the payment on this property is $1,900, but I can rent it out to somebody for $24, I'm making passive. And at the same time, if I hold it for 10 or 15 years, I'm going to capture the appreciation. So that's what I care about when I do these type of deals. So that's what I would be doing right now. I would get familiar with the different type of loans. I would get familiar with the different type of modifications, and those would be the first two things I would do before I'd say I'm going to go tackle mortgage foreclosures.
Educate yourself.
Educate yourself, man, because there's only so many $30,000 reinstatements you can do.
True.
There's only so many you can do. Even people with a lot of money. You know, if you got $1 million and you're going after a mortgage foreclosure, you're reinstating 30,000, 25,000, 30,000, you can only do so many. At some point, you're going to have diminishing returns.
Dude, such a crazy strategy, bro.
Well, I mean, I've been doing this a minute.
Yeah, man. And I feel like the mortgage background, too, actually plays a huge role in this. Dude, and your people at your office, they understand this strategy. They're implementing it with you.
So this is great that you mentioned this. So, guys, for a long time, and you know I used to teach people in my office, taught a lot of people. For a long time, I taught people how to do step 1 and step 2. And that's great, man. I will do that if they pay me. I just got to throw it out there. Don't get me wrong. I've taught people, I answer people's questions.
Hey, man, your time's valuable, bro. I wouldn't expect you to just teach people for free. You have a family and everything that you take care of, bro. You have a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I do teach people.
People need to respect that.
But in my office, what I teach my guys now is this. The most important thing is this. You guys got to be focused on getting deals, because deals turn into closings, turn into money. You don't need to be focused on, at some point, don't get me wrong, if you want to, that's fine. As you grow into this, that's fine. I will teach you. But what I teach my guys is this, how to identify deals. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you how we do this. So we say, look, guys, if you find a wholesale, you find a flip. Because if it's a wholesale, you can decide to flip it. The objective is to sell it to a flipper, right?
Yeah.
So if you find a flip, you find a wholesale. And if you find either one of those, you find a hotel. So there it is. 3 different strategies with different X's. It's the same numbers, man. For all 3 of those. Now, how do you find a subject to? If there's a mortgage, you're thinking subject to. So right away, there's a mortgage, they're thinking subject to. They already identifying what that subject to is. They already know what to get me. And they already know what I need from that individual to make a decision. If the deal's making money, if it's small multifamily or a home that's being rented or Airbnb, we're taking creative financing. If somebody wants more money, for the property, it doesn't make sense to do a wholesale, then we're taking novation. If somebody, worst case scenario, we're thinking MLS listing. So what I teach my guys is how to identify a deal and then attach a strategy to it. So if they can attach a strategy to it, now that makes it much easier for us to make decisions. Wholesale, in and out. Hotel, we're buying it, in and out. Flip, we know, are we going to flip it or not? We're going to sell it to a flipper. If it's an innovation, we're doing a beautiful innovation right now. That means someone doesn't want to actually list it, but they want too much money for it to be a wholesale. It just fits right in that sweet spot. So you just got to learn how the strategies work. Once you learn how the strategies work, you know, you don't have to do them all at one time, But once you learn how the strategies work, you can implement more tools into your tool belt to do more deals.
It wasn't until I met you, dude, that I realized that subject to and creative finance were two entirely fucking different things.
You know, in my opinion, subject to, in my opinion, I believe the credit financing is a parent of subject to. That makes sense.
I see.
But subject to stands on its own. It's like the prince and the king. The king
like that
is
concept.
credit financing, and the prince is subject to. It's that important. It stands on its own. It's its own strategy. Just like the burr is. It's its own strategy from for example, a flip is a hybrid of two different systems.
Yeah.
So the sub two, man, we do so much stuff, man. You could do subject to rentals, and you know this, subject to wraps, subject to Airbnb, subject to dorm pads. You can live in the thing. You can do so much thing with the
My
sub two.
personal residence that I bought from HBHS
it's
is a subject to.
I know. And you got a lot of equity there.
I
Sucker.
did.
Man, this guy got us, man. How much equity you got in that thing now?
Oh, dude, last I checked, the ARV is like 460, bro.
You got almost $100,000.
Almost $100,000 in equity, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of. It's a beautiful home. Too.
I love the home. Thank you so much for selling it to me.
You got it, man.
Dude, and not to mention, the rate that you gave me is below national rate now. Like, how does that even happen? And it's fixed. No offense, but I'm just saying, like, wow, you know what I mean? Dude, so, like, what is the fine line in between subject to and creative finance?
Okay, so this is, man, you're asking some really good questions. So subject to, you can actually target. You can actually find subject to deals, and I'll give you some examples. You can go after divorces. You can go after new bills. We do that a lot. You can go after post bankruptcies. Those people are ready to give up those deals, those homes, right? The reason they're in a post bankruptcy is because either they didn't pay the mortgage or they didn't pay the bankruptcy kicked them out. They don't have bankruptcy protection, so those are prime subject to deals. Now, a credit finance deal, it's a little harder to target. You have to learn you have to understand how to identify it, because hence the word creative. You have to be creative. You have to figure out how to put the deal together. Can I give you an example?
Yeah, man, for sure.
So we separate another portion of credit financing into what we call deal structuring. And for me, deal structuring means taking down properties without title. But this is how you have to think. This is how I think. So for example, we had a deal over here on the coast worth about $365, and the lady picked it up in the 80s, and was what they call a conversion deed. I didn't even know what the hell that was. It was just basically a letter that allowed her to go change the deed.
Wow.
Now years later, she got divorced, and the court awarded her the property. So you would think, well, she's the owner, but you still got a clout on title. So she'll never get title. So she wanted to sell this property, and I talked her down, I think, to $100,000. I said, hey, you're not gonna be able to sell this property. You can try to sell it, but you have to disclose. You have to disclose that you don't have title. But I tell you what, I'll give you $100,000 in payments. And this is a very unique thing to HBHS. I want to say it right here. We call it a reverse note. Let me point this out. Remember, we're talking creative financing, but in creative finance, a lot of terms. So instead of me asking you, hey, Q, will you seller finance this property to me? You're going to be like, nah, man, I want my money.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it a different way. Will you owner finance this property to me? No, I want my money. Now check this out. After I've already painted the picture, you can't sell the property. You get an attorney. They're going to wake up the giant back here. Maybe she had family members because she passed away. I don't know. I do know this. Why don't we do this, Q? Let me offer you $100,000. Accept my offer, and I will make payments to you. And we will secure your interest against me and record it with the county with a reverse note. That way you know you get all your money every single month. How do you like that?
Dude, first I got to understand, what the hell is a reverse note?
I just asked for seller financing.
Wow.
I just asked for seller financing without asking. I just asked you, can we secure your interest against me, record it with the county with a reverse note?
Words mean something.
Words mean something, brother. And everybody that I do this with, they're like, yeah, yeah.
What other option does that person have?
Well, I mean, you know what the option they like? I like that it's secured with the county. So then what we do is, for example,
this is a beach house that you're talking about,
yeah,
right?
So what we do with that property, all I did We'll throw it into a trust because I don't want nobody to find it. So we throw it into a trust. And now we're collecting money on that property by Airbnb-ing it, which I use some of that money to pay her every single month, right? Because I'm gonna show you how I structured that.
Which coast is this, by the way?
Right here, Texas.
Fort A?
No, Galveston.
Dude, I need a place to stay when I go fishing.
I'll
dude.
let you know what it is.
Let's go.
So on that deal, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So let me just share with you.
course.
So for example, on that particular deal, not only did we secure her interest, right? It's our master for seller financing. We still have to set that up. So I never talk interest rate. I never talk down payment. So I'll give you an example. She said, well, what about the interest? And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, I'm not asking you for a loan.
Wow.
I'm not asking you for a loan. So, are you going to give me some money or something? So in essence, they're like, whoa, what are you talking about? No, we're doing a deal here. I'm giving you what you want. I'm not looking to live in this property.
They're not giving you cash.
I don't
They're
need
giving you a house.
Yeah, I don't need an opportunity. I'm inheriting your risk. So now, rates out of the way. What about a down payment? What do you mean a down payment? Let me ask you a question, Q. If I give you $20,000 right now, okay, and we're agreeing to $100,000.
Okay.
If I give you $20,000, you're going to have to give me credit. Do you want to give me credit? Because we're going to create a note of $80,000. You're going to give me credit. And then I can't do this deal. I can't give you what you want because I need that $20,000 to put it into your house. Why don't you keep the whole $100,000? You don't have to give me credit. And I still put the $20,000 into your house. How does that sound?
Shit.
So now we're not talking down payment, right?
No, man. I'm just more like you're actually going to fix up the house and everything. That's great.
Yeah, and I'm not putting a down payment. And guess what?
Worst case scenario, you default to take the property back.
Well, I'm not going to default, but here's the thing. Now I just set the payment that I wanted at the amortization that I want. And if you want a balloon, I'll set that balloon too. You want what type of balloon do you want?
5 year, 10 year?
You know what? I can't do a 5-year balloon. I tell you what I will do. I'll do 120 months. That'll get you all your money. And so my objective on that deal is to do a balloon in 10 years and amortize at 360 months. Shit, I've amortized deals at 40 years. I've amortized deals at 40 years. You know why? Because if I can push the payment down, that means I'm collecting more. Okay, let's just say you and I agree to a 7-year balloon.
Okay, 7 year.
And in 60 months, the property has appreciated, right? Property has appreciated, and the payment is so low that I'm taking money. I'm making payments to you direct. So every payment I make from you hits the balance, right? So the balance is going down pretty quick, and I'm putting reserve money on the side. And then I come to you on the 60th month, and I say to you, Q, hey, look, I know we got 2 more years to go on this balloon, but wouldn't you like all your money right now? I think I owe you I'm just gonna throw numbers here, guys. They're not exact.
Okay.
I think I owe you like 60,000. I think that's the count. I tell you what, I can give you 45 right now.
I get it right now.
Right now, here it is.
Dude, sign me up.
Cash.
I'll take it.
So
I've already waited this long.
So you know what happens when people see cash or they see a cashier's check?
Yeah.
They want the money, man. So do I really have to worry? Do I really have to worry about the amount that I originally offered you?
No, not at all.
Why?
Because you're going to be creative with it.
I'm going to come back. In this scenario, we had a balloon at 7. In 16 months, I came back to you and I said, hey, we take 45?
Damn.
Yes, that's creative financing. That's how you got to think.
I love that. That was creative on the front end.
And
creative on the negotiation,
yeah.
And creative on the back end when you were trying to pay me off.
On a deal you can't get title on.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude. Honestly, bro, you guys that are listening right now, y'all better fucking rewind that shit because that was some gold, bro.
You know, getting back to the sub 2, I know a lot of people like to hear talk, strategies and stuff. I'll give you one more.
It's such a common one, bro.
Well, I'll give you another one. A lot of times there's a lot of prominent attorneys, guys, in the whole nation. Some of them are actually lobbying Congress or lobbying their legislatures about wraps, about owner financing, about wholesaling, about subject to. There's a lot of prominent individuals. And there's a lot of prominent real estate investors, OGs, like OGs, the true godfathers. I'm not a godfather of real estate, man. I'm just a guy who came up from the street. And I learned a lot of stuff. Here's the thing, man. When it comes to sub 2, I want to just throw this out there because I never get a chance on a big platform to talk about this. A lot of people say, well, Charles, you talk about LLCs for subject twos, or you talk about trusts for subject twos. It doesn't make a difference, man. You're still changing the deed. You don't have no added protection if you put it into a trust, you should put it into an LLC. Look, I get it, man. I totally get it. You know what I ask? You know what I ask sometimes attorneys? How many do you own?
Damn.
How many do you have in your stable? I get it, man. I understand where you're coming from. You can tell me what a horse looks like. You can probably tell me the breed of the horse. You can probably tell me how fast the horse runs. You can tell me the history of the horse. I get it. But how many do you own?
Damn.
How many do you own? Because if you don't own any, like if you haven't been in those battles with the lender when they're trying to call a note, if you haven't been in the battles with those lenders when some shit goes down with the insurance, if you haven't been in those battles where somebody files a bankruptcy, in other words, the original seller, or if you wrap it to somebody where that new buyer is trying to file bankruptcy, if you haven't been in those battles, then how can you actually tell me what works and what doesn't? Let me share something with you. Let me enlighten you. You see, the reason I put short-term subject twos into LLCs because I only want to hold them for a little while. And because I only want to hold them for a little while, meaning if it has equity and I want to sell it maybe on the market, I want to do a subject to flip. Maybe I want it to give people who want to do an FHA an opportunity. And you got to be on the title. You got to be on title for 90 days to do that. I know this. You get a POA for that. You got to talk to everybody about that transaction. And so I'm only holding it short term. Now, I get that the trust doesn't give you no added protection, okay? But the reason I put long-term subject twos, the ones we're going to hold, the ones we turn into Airbnbs or we rent or we wrap, or I haven't even told you about subject to swaps, or I haven't even told you about death twos. I'll talk about that later, man. Hold on. But the reason we put it into long-term, the long ones into trust is because this, and answer me this, attorney. If this person dies 5 years from now, and I got a POA, does that POA go away?
POA.
Power of attorney. A power of attorney extinguishes upon death. If that person gets lost on me, it's 10 years from now, and the title company is saying, hey, I get it, you got a power of attorney, but we need to talk to Quentin to see if that power of attorney is still in force. You see, if I put properties into a trust and I'm the trustee, I get to talk to anybody I want 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, because the trustee doesn't extinguish. The only thing extinguishes me is if I die and I get to appoint someone else to be trustee, because the trust doesn't die. The POA dies upon death or upon absence. So that's why I tell my peers that I put long-term subject twos into trusts, right? And I put short-term subject twos into LLCs. And it doesn't matter to me whether you think one has more security or the other. That's not the case. It's because I have enough experience to understand how this shit works.
Dude, talk about dropping some straight up game on this podcast, dude.
Just because you have a license doesn't mean you know everything, man.
Like Mike Tyson, what do you say, right? Everybody got a plan when they get into the ring until they get punched in the face.
Everybody got a plan until they get into the ring, man. Just because you got a license don't mean you know everything, man. You gotta have you gotta be in the ring to get those hits, man. You gotta know.
That's experience.
Yeah. Fuck, I own over 100 of these, so I should know.
That's insane, bro. Man, I know you got to get back to your office, Charles. I'm going to get you back multiple times on this podcast, dude.
Man, I got so much I can share with you. I want to talk about death twos, man. So.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
Man.
Dude, for everybody that's watching, man, and paying attention right now, if you're listening to this on Spotify, iTunes, wherever, where can these guys get a hold of you? And also, how can they attend this event that you have going on, bro?
Whew. Okay, so I recently had to get a domain, and it's not vanity. I'm not being vain or anything, but yeah, I had some fake accounts. They were trying to charge people online. So I created a domain. It's called realunclecharles.com, and that's where you can go find my link tree.
Realunclecharles.com.
Realunclecharles.com. You could find, my IG there, my TikTok, whatever it is you want to talk to me. That's where you find me. You want to set up a calendar. That's where you find me. Now for the event, you can find it there also. Well, the event is wholesalinglive.io. And that event's going to be a game changer, man. I really believe that wholesalinglive.io, San Antonio, is going to be a game changer in how events are done, because events are usually done for the speakers to come and talk, which I love. I get it. We've spoken to.
Yeah.
But this event is going to be different. And you're going to be there.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Y'all know about me, man. I got a huge virtual assistant company. We have a large office, over 500 VAs. It's been phenomenal. We're sponsoring this event.
Yep.
So guys, dude, I have been involved with Charles. If you got value from this, if it literally challenged the way that you do real estate investing, listening to this podcast, then by all means, you have to be there in this building, because if you see the way that these guys are going to orchestrate deals, it ain't anything compared to listening to it on a podcast, man. So get your ass to wholesalinglive.io and purchase a ticket. If you're watching this from YouTube, make sure you click the link in the comment section, bro. What can these guys that are listening right now expect from you in the future, man, with everything that you have going on right now? What's the direction that you're going?
Man, we want to get into some development. We're going to go a lot deeper into commercial. We're definitely going a lot deeper into multifamily. But we also want to spread our wings. We want to do other stuff, much like what you've done. I commend you for, man, what you're doing, man. You're doing some big things, and I
appreciate it.
Yeah, it's beautiful things, as a matter of fact. And it's time. Everybody has to grow. You got to grow, man. You got to grow, and you got to do different stuff. If you get stuck, you'll be there next year doing the same shit.
Boom. Yeah. Bro, I appreciate you jumping on the show. Guys, as always, make sure that you subscribe, that you go ahead and you follow my guy, Charles. And yeah, man, I will catch y'all on the next episode. Let's get it.